Muto reads equations and formulas to us one by one in his usual, unenthusiastic monotone directly from the book. It's possible that he might be excited about what he teaches us. Sometimes he can display an awkward spark of passion for it, as if he's starting to get into the material. Most days, however, are like this one. While recovering is fairly simple, so I find it increasingly difficult to keep my concentration on him. It's not too long until my legs begin aching again, which only makes it even harder. I'm almost starting to regret walking around the city yesterday with Lily. Since leaving the hospital, I've done very little physical exertion. Walking to and from the local corner store hardly counts. Despite Emi's attempts when I first arrived in Yamaku, I've largely given up on the idea of ever returning to my old level of fitness. I have little doubt that's why walking around town for so many hours has made me quite so sore. It's depressing, and it reminds me of one more thing I can't do since I had my heart attack. It makes me feel pathetic. Now, Ikazawa. It's odd for Muto to ask Hanako a question, but not unheard of. She quickly jumps to her feet, a little startled, and immediately pins her eyes onto him. She knows that Muto calling on her is rare, so all eyes in the classroom are going to be on her. This way, she doesn't run the risk of making eye contact with anyone else. Yes? In this particular example of a redox reaction, the combustion of methane reaction actually produces one more product than is listed. That product is... Even though it's a softball question, she timidly waits a bit before answering, biting down slightly on her lower lip as if to keep her concentration. A softball question, huh? Of a redox reaction, the combustion of methane reaction actually produces more product than is... Nope, I don't know this. It is not a softball for me, okay? Heat? Well done. This is an exothermic reaction, with the reaction giving more heat than is put into it. Receiving a nod from Muto, Hanako takes her seat once again and gives a relieved sigh. A shaky start, but it's something. It'll be nice to take her out for her birthday, somewhere different from the usual isolation of her room in the tea room. With the progress she's made until now, I don't think she'll have much of a problem going to the city. Right then, for the remainder of this class, I'd like you to work in groups of 3 or 4 on the problems in Chapter 12. I'll be here if you need me. Muto sits down behind his desk, pulls some loose sheets out of a folder, and starts on some kind of paperwork on his own. I thought teachers were supposed to do that kind of thing after class, not during it. Oh my god, we're cornered. Regardless, I look to my right to pick out someone to form a group with. Given the 2 smiling faces hovering near mine, I don't think I'm going to get much say in the matter. I suppose we have a group then. Hee-chan, you want to work together? Okay, that's great. It's really been a while. The class begins the process of noisily shuffling the desk around, with Shizune doing the same as she puts hers in front of mine. She's a little lucky to not be able to hear the din of the classroom, which is loud enough to cause some discomfort. Truth be told, working with Shizune and Misha is probably a good outcome. Shizune and I are pretty good at this subject, and Misha... she has really nice handwriting. As I look to Misha, I notice a tall figure behind her. The shadow catches Misha's attention as well, and she turns to face the dark-haired observer. Good afternoon, Hanako! Hello? Shizune finally notices Hanako after looking up and following the gazes of Misha and I. In quick measure, she taps Misha on the shoulder to get her attention before signing away. ... Shishan says if you're looking for a group, you can join ours! Hanako looks down and blushes a little at the offer. Out of all the people in the class, Hanako's most familiar with the 3 of us, so it's reasonable that she'd come to us first. Then again, her actually coming up to a group with the intention of joining them is something she apparently very rarely did before. She leaves briefly to drag her desk over, and Shizune and Misha wheel back to me as soon as her back is turned. ... I guess we gotta play again, Hee-chan! You hardly ever play with us anymore! I wonder why. You two always seem to have some ulterior motive. ... That hurt, Hee-chan! I almost think you were insulting me! But it's Hee-chan, so I know you're joking! Such a great sense of humor about it. It'd be awful if someone were to take advantage of your good nature. Like making you help them with their work. ... What? Shizune seems excited for a second, a little surprised that I'm willing to challenge her, but when she sees Hanako coming back, she backs off with a smile. I guess the mind games are over early today. Let's be nice, guys. Play nice. Hanako gently sets down her desk in front of Misha's. Her eyes are locked downwards, and I'm left wondering why until I look around the class. Most are busy setting up their own groups, but a few are casting curious glances at her. At this range, it's hard to tell whether that is where their interest in her ends or if they're talking about her as well. It's strange. No one bats an eyelid when Hanako runs out of class to avoid group work, but now that she's making an effort, they're staring at her as if she's done something wrong. We all move to sort ourselves out, spreading our textbooks and worksheets around the larger surface created by the 4 joined desks. Super desk. It isn't long before the class as a whole gets down to work.
Hi, Hanako! It's nice to finally work with you! Yeah. ... Are you the reason Hee-chan has been avoiding us lately? Jay-chan says it's a little rude, but if Hee-chan wanted to spend time with a cute girl, it's understandable. I don't think it's, like that.
Hanako starts to fidget, unused to this kind of attention. I think that an ordinary person would drop the conversation by now, but Misha is like the antithesis of Hanako. Part of that includes being blind to ordinary social cues, while Hanako is overly sensitive to them. You know, I'm honestly really proud of Hanako right now, because I mean, just like walking up to like 3 people and just going up doing this, you know, when you don't normally, that's very brave. Because of that, Misha barrels ahead at the questions, too quickly for me to get a chance to interject and guide the discussion somewhere more comfortable. That is also something I'm kind of worried about. Yeah, Misha is the definition of an extrovert in that she's super loud, super outgoing. Well, actually, I don't know how many friends Misha has, but at least she is very devoted to the friends she does have. So I'm just hoping that, you know, they're able to get along well, Misha and Hanako.
Really? So, he wasn't hanging out with you yesterday?
No. I can feel my cover being blown already. Lily didn't want Hanako to know that we were out buying presents for her, let alone planning out her birthday party. It wouldn't be good for her to find out. Yeah, I was, doing something else. You know how it is. ...
Really? I wonder how important it was for Hee-chan to blow us off like that. If it wasn't to spend time with Hanako, then what could it be? It's really interesting.
Now this is starting to feel like an interrogation. I'm surprised at how Misha is able to exert such a feeling of pressure without actually intending to.
Were you with Lily?
Out of nowhere, Hanako manages to stumble on the answer. She may be dreadfully quiet and shy, but she's very intuitive. Like like Hisao said before, Hanako is not dim. She is smart. What makes you say that?
Yesterday, Lily said something similar. ... Suspicious! Hee-chan! I demand that you explain yourself.
Hey, shouldn't we be doing the assignment?
But it's so mysterious. Even Hanako wants to know.
I turn to look at Hanako. It's true. From the expression on her face, it's obvious that she wants to know as well. And I think we're past the point where I could weasel out of having to provide an explanation. I apologize to Lily in my mind. She really did want to keep it a secret, but now it doesn't seem possible anymore. I feel a rush of conflicting emotions, so jumbled that I can't readily identify them, but they crash around in my head as I try to calm down and speak. Alright, I'll tell you. I went into town with Lily, but it wasn't what you think. Lily and I were, for Hanako's birthday, we were... The cat is out of the bag, but it looks like Hanako's taking it a little better than I thought she would. A brief silence passes around our little group as Chizune and Misha look at each other sheepishly. I can tell they didn't expect their game to turn out like this. Misha looks up to Hanako in order to apologize, then pauses. Hanako is staring at the middle of her desk and barely moving, a maudlin expression on her face. I guess I was wrong about her taking it well.
Hanako? I'm sorry.
There's a few seconds pause, but Hanako lifts and shakes her head.
It's okay.
Her expression looks odd, like she's very tired. That doesn't seem natural, but it's nothing alarming. Nobody really wants to continue with the current conversation, so we open our textbooks and begin our group work. Okay, this did not turn out well. Oh, yikes. This is pretty dull. Well, the equations we're supposed to work out as a group will take a while, and most of it is going to be boringly mechanical. It also doesn't help that while that didn't go as bad as it could have, it has left an awkward atmosphere around us. Still, we manage. Shizune's face betrays that she has about the same expectations of our work as I do, and the two of us begin to write our group's results. Misha, on the other hand, is scrunching up her lips and very visibly trying to make heads or tails of what we're doing. Hanako is looking on quietly, absorbing what we write and what I say. She usually has the same expression when the teacher speaks. It's a shame her attendance is so unreliable. With the way she takes in information, I think she'd do quite well in class if she actually followed the lessons regularly. I wonder if this might be why Shizune seems so hard on her. Oh, where's my mouse? Oh, okay, found it.
Hey, Hanako, do you understand this?
Misha looks to Hanako, but I suspect her hope is more to find a comrade in ignorance rather than genuine help.
Not really, I guess.
I'm surprised by how tense she is in answering, but she settles back down. She breathes out, and the way her upper body and her head low remind me of a deflating balloon. You okay? I could go over this bit if you want. Hanako shakes her head slightly, but then again, I don't think she needs the extra explanation despite what she said. Misha quickly interjects, entirely oblivious, and I end up slowly going through how we ended up in one of our results, step by step. Times like this remind me that this kind of work may not be mechanical for everyone, but rather feels that way to me due to my grasp of the subject. It's a satisfying feeling. As Misha brings her balled fist onto an open hand in realization, I discover another nice feeling. My explanation got through to her, and she manages to work out the next equation by herself with a minimum of guidance. Ooh, we're getting foreshadowing for Sao as a teacher, which she probably will become at the end of this round. We'll see. Throughout all of this, Hanako is unusually unresponsive. She's normally very quiet, but one can still see her eyes roving periodically over the landscape of the classroom in front of her, or anxiously moving her hands in some way, or shifting her shoulders periodically. Right now, the small movements that I've gotten used to seeing are all missing. Someone not moving at all is definitely weird. Even Misha can tell there's something wrong.
Hanako, are you sure you're okay? Yes.
Are you sure?
I'm fine.
A little more strongly this time, but she turns away as she says it. It only makes me doubt her answer, yet at the same time, I can tell she doesn't want to talk about it further. Having already had one very awkward conversation today that I'm still not fully over, I don't want to pursue the matter too much either. We settle back into our routine, debating over our answers whenever a doubt comes up, but as time goes on, I notice that Hanako isn't talking at all. It's frustrating. She had made so much progress. It makes me a little angry at Chizune and Misha for undoing the surprise Lily had wanted to keep secret so much. I know I'm at fault too. Maybe I could have kept it under wraps somehow. Shizune had noticed Hanako's silence as well and is also getting antsy. I can see her on her face. It's strange that even though she's deaf, Shizune has perceived Hanako's unusual quietness sooner than Misha. ...
Hanako, you're being too quiet. You have to contribute too. Someday you might work in a bigger project, like one that's so big it's worth celebrating afterwards, like with ice cream or cake. If you act like this, we won't take you along.
I can tell you're trying to tease her to bring her out of her shell, but I don't think that kind of approach works on Hanako. It'll just make her feel worse. Guys, don't tease her like that. ...
Hee-chan, it's all in good fun. She-chan says she teases everyone anyway.
They do back off, though, with Misha moving away from the issue by asking me a question again. On seeing how difficult the problem she's working on is, I don't know whether it was a skillful dodge or mere coincidence. It takes away more of our time than necessary because Shizune keeps disagreeing with me while I'm trying to explain it to Misha, and Misha is quick to believe her over me. So quick, in fact, that she forgets to translate what Shizune is saying. Hey, the clock is kind of ticking down. We should speed up a little.
Hee-chan, you sound a little like She-chan there.
Just because I looked at my watch? Geez, is that really all it takes? Time management, I'm suddenly the student council president? I look at Hanako's desk to see how she's doing and freeze. Our papers are covered in equations, but Hanako's only halfway there. It seems like she hasn't written anything in the past 20 minutes. When I realize that, I want to kick myself for how dumb I've been. I should have known that someone as fragile as Hanako wasn't just going to brush off what happened so easily, but I've been too eager to move on from an awkward situation to notice. She's been slowly shutting down for the last half hour and I had no clue. Her pen... her pen is still in her hand, but she doesn't slowly spin it around like she usually does. There isn't a single idle movement from Hanako. Only the fact that she tries to inch away once she feels Shizune, Misha, and me looking at her tells me that she is even still conscious. We look away, and at least in my case, it's partially out of shame that it's gone to this point. Though on the outside, she has shut down almost completely, I know it's a different story on the inside. Because of things she'd be thinking about, she tries harder and harder to shrink into herself, as if by willing it, she could somehow disappear. Everyone is looking at her now, stealing quick glances in between putting the finishing touches on their work. Misha attempts to ask her what's wrong, but that only makes the problem worse. If she weren't frozen to her seat, she would probably run out of the room right now. Misha's questions are loud enough to be heard throughout the entire classroom, and for a second I'm ready to snap at her because I can only imagine how much worse it's making Hanako feel. Of course, if I were to do that, it would only make the situation worse. I'd believe that Hanako had gotten stronger, and she has, but it wasn't enough, and I was too eager to believe it. Now she's terrified, alone in the middle of the classroom, and there's nothing I can do without drawing more attention to her. It's infuriating. Misha's worried, and even Shizune is biting her lip. None of us know how to deal with this situation, so I decided to call Muto. His judgment would probably be better than ours. I look up and manage to catch his eye, silently motioning for him to come over. I want to make as little fuss about this as possible, since if there's anything that will make this worse, it's more attention being focused on her. I know that Hanako can see everyone staring at our group, specifically at her, because they know that if there's a problem, it has to be her. Everyone knows her, and it's the first thing anyone's mind would leap to. Her reputation for being a truant has marked her as an unusual person, even an unusual Yamaku. Who knows how many times they've stared at her before? Maybe it's because she's seen the class staring at her so much that she fears their gazes like she does, cowering from them. The time it takes Muto to walk over must be like an eternity to Hanako, and she looks like she's about to fall over. Muto quietly begins to ask us what's wrong before catching himself as he sees Hanako.
Did we upset her?
Don't worry. Muto bends down after calming Misha and looks intently at Hanako's face. Hi, Ikazawa, can I help you at all? His voice is hushed and gentle. Everyone's acting so differently around Hanako now that the whole class has noticed something's wrong with her. Hanako doesn't respond, so Muto gently rests a hand on her shoulder. She starts shaking at his touch, but won't even look up. Hanako continues to stare into the equations on her desk, a vision so unfocused that I doubt she even sees them. She's worse than before. I remember that not even an hour ago she was able to talk to him almost normally. Muto grimaces a bit as he stands again, and now that his expression's changed, I can see he wasn't exactly unaffected by what happened either. He takes a breath to settle himself before speaking in a very quiet voice. I'm a little impressed at how quickly he takes control of the situation. Is that it? Nothing's wrong then? Muto seemed to say that to no one in particular. However, his words sound convincing enough that most of the people who are looking over at Hanako now turn away, getting back to their work. He gives a quick glance to his left and right. Several people at the desks around us are still staring curiously, but other than that, we seem to have escaped attracting too much attention. Muto notices me doing the same as him and smiles a little in his usual stilted way. I think, for Ikazawa's sake, that would be good to quickly take her somewhere away from the others. Nakai, Hakamichi, could you please take Ikazawa out of the classroom? I'll keep everyone settled, so please don't worry about anything but her, okay? He looks at Misha to tell her to interpret his words for Shizune, but she's already finishing her translation by the time he does so. It's remarkable how little thought she needs to sign, and she still looks quite dazed otherwise. Nodding, Shizune and I stand and move to either side of Hanako. Muto steps back to allow some room and talks to the table behind us as some people there have begun to mutter between themselves about what's going on. We look at each other before lowering ourselves in unison, taking one arm around each of our shoulders and lifting. The two of us begin to walk at a slow pace to make sure we don't inadvertently hurt her. As much as we try to make this look normal, I'm quite sure there'll be many more gazes on us if not for Muto's distraction. Eventually, thankfully, we reach the door and go through. Nobody's outside, so we walk down the hallway. It doesn't seem like it's making her more at ease than she was in the classroom. Finally, I ask if she just wants to sit down. For a while, we simply stay in place and wait for her to say something. Shizune tentatively rubs Hanako's shoulder a little, but there's no response. Eventually, she shakes her head a little when Shizune tries again. Both of us are looking at her, so we pick up on it immediately. Shizune's hand again comes to rest on Hanako's shoulder as she awakens, her face lifting to two very worried and anxious people looking at her. She looks at us silently for a while. I'm initially worried she might freak out or do something extreme, but those fears prove unwarranted as her expression slowly changes from an almost lifeless blank slate to a more normal, withdrawn shyness. She wordlessly lowers her head, her eyes evasively moving to the side. She looks embarrassed, almost ashamed. I want to say something, anything to help. I can't, though. I don't really know what just happened or even what caused it. I feel hopeless and ashamed of myself for not being of any use. Shizune sighs before looking at me. Even without words, I think I can tell what she's asking. I'll take Hanako to the nurse. Is that okay by you? I try to communicate my intentions through hand gestures, but I don't feel like I managed to get through to her very well. Shizune makes a dreary face in response to my gesticulations, confirming my impression. She stabs her finger in the air decisively, first at me, then at Hanako, and then towards the stairs. She waits for me to nod before pointing at herself, then pointing at the door to the classroom. I get the feeling Shizune is much better at this than I am. I nod at her, since her plan is after all the same as mine. Shizune gets ready to make her exit, but she only leaves after looking at Hanako for quite some time. Are you okay with me taking you to the nurse's office? Hanako doesn't say anything or nod, but she stands up in place by herself, and when I begin to walk, she obediently follows. I've read about people being catatonic before, but I think this time I'm seeing it for myself. She looks extremely tired. After everything that's happened, it's not a surprise. After Hanako silently takes off her shoes and lies on the bed in the infirmary, the nurse and I take her leave. He shuts the curtain behind us, we both take a seat, and I quietly and thoroughly go through everything that has happened in quite some detail. I want to understand what happened, and the nurse has as good a chance as anyone of knowing. Oh, I didn't really, I was just focusing on reading that part through, but, like, God, that's, yeah, that was, painful, yeah. I mean, I think the nurse is gonna say it in a bit, but, Hanako definitely had a panic attack, right? Fuck. Just the worst thing ever. He nods throughout my explanation, his face looking troubled as I finish. It, must have been very troubling for you to have seen all this. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. I get that she fainted, but I don't really understand anything about why it happened or why she's acting like this. He nods, but his face is clouded. You don't know either? Well, yes and no. It's complicated. I assume you've heard about the concept of patient confidentiality at some point. This is a bit of a minefield in that respect. I'm gonna put this pretty bluntly. This is a matter for Ikuzawa, me, and her therapist. I moved to protest, but think better of it. I want to deny what he says, but if I think this through rationally, what he says makes perfect sense. I understand. Good. I wish I could help you more, but I think what Ikuzawa needs right now isn't somebody prying into her past or her emotions. She just needs somebody to be there for her. She needs a friend. For what it's worth, I think you've done well in bringing her here. Sounds like you and your friends dealt the situation well, too. I'd give you a lollipop or a sticker as a reward, but you might be a little too old for either. He gives a cocky grin, obviously trying his best to lighten the atmosphere. I'm not really in a laughing mood, but he does manage to get a smile out of me. Thanks. Do you mind if I stay here with Hanako? I appreciate the thought, but I think we better let her rest for now. She'll be let back to her dormitory room this evening, so you can visit her then. I agree with him before standing. It feels like all I can ever do around the nurse is humbly agree to what he says, but it was the same with the doctors in the hospital too. The walk back to the classroom is a long one, my mind feeling heavy under the weight of so many things happening so suddenly. Even as I re-enter the classroom, I'm thinking about Hanako. My stomach feels like it's turning into knots while I think about how to deal with her. I still don't know what I'm going to say when I see her again. Thankfully, the class doesn't pay me much heed. There are a couple of questioning glances, but overall not many people seem to be very aware of what happened. Muto raises his eyebrows to get my attention when I pass by his desk. Nakai, I take it Ikuzawa's in the infirmary now? Yeah, I took her there, and the nurse said I should let her rest. Muto nods, assuring me that I made the right call. He scratches his chin for a second before rising from his desk. Everyone, I want you to continue with the exercise. Nakai, I'll see you in the hallway, please. His speech is hushed, but overall he doesn't seem to be acting too differently from how he usually does. Being a teacher, maybe it's to be expected. As we go out into the hallway, I notice him taking a quick glance left and right to check if there are any students milling around. The hallway is nearly soundless, but I can't think of anything except waiting for Muto to speak. Nakai, what do you think the purpose of this school is? To cater to the needs of disabled students? Muto scratches his head as he shakes it. No, if we wanted to do that, we would have built a whole new school from scratch. One floor, talking whiteboards, that kind of thing. Look around, Nakai. The school's about giving you all a future that you would have denied, and you would have been denied in regular education. Huh? Think of it this way. If you wanted you to graduate and go straight into a hospital, do you think we'd put in this much effort? The bluntness in Muto's statement temporarily stuns me, causing me to forget about the immediate situation. No. That's right. We want you all to leave here as useful members of society. I'm not quite sure I'm following you. I have high hopes for you, Nakai. You're possibly the first student I've had that gets my lectures. This isn't something that a teacher should be admitting so freely. You could easily take your studies of science well into university. Have you ever considered that? I can't say I have. Well, what have you considered? For your future, that is. I can't say I put that much thought into my future. For a moment, I'm distinctly reminded of Lee questioning me about the same subject. It's only been a little over 5 months since I was gasping for air on the ground. It's too soon to be thinking about the future, and besides, Hanako's problems seem much bigger to me right now. Muto gives a disapproving sigh before continuing. Think of this place as an opportunity. Here you have boundless facilities, good teachers, plus the added bonus of the nurse and his staff. You should be doing nothing but thinking of the future. Right. As I raise my head to meet his gaze, a thought occurs to me. It's almost like Muto totally sidestepped the issue at hand. Excuse me, but why do none of the staff seem to care when Hanako skips class? I've seen you watch her walk out of class more than once. Shouldn't you at least say something? Well, Nakai, it's not really that simple. Every student here has special needs. If it weren't for that, then we wouldn't have a school here. For example, I wouldn't keep you in class if you're having trouble breathing, would I? But that's not... Muto cuts me off before I can even think about finishing my sentence. Ikazawa's case is very much like that, but instead of CPR or a pacemaker, what she needs is time and space. The faculty was made aware of this from the day she arrived here, thus whenever she feels the need to leave classes, we let her do so. And even though she isn't a star pupil, she seems to pass all of her exams, so it hasn't affected her ability to study. Isn't that enough? I open my mouth to protest, but I can't find a fault in his argument. While the condition does at first seem to be wholly physiological, its worst effects have been on her psyche. It still puts me off, though. Isn't he just passing on the responsibility for her problem? Surely she can't go like this for her entire life. I understand you might not be used to this kind of thing yet. It's been a big change for you. That said, it's less than a year until graduation now. Maybe you won't have to get used to this school. If you keep your head down, I'm sure you'll do well enough in your exams. I numbly nod, more to simply acknowledge that I'm listening more than out of agreement. I felt like I was getting used to this school, but it feels like I've just been thrown back in my face. Feels like it's just been thrown back into my face. But what about Hanako? I believe, well, I hope, that she'll perform well enough to do what she wants to do. What that is, I don't know. Not all students leave school with an idea of what they want to do, unfortunately. He takes care to emphasize the last word, as if that wasn't quite clear enough already, and gives me a moment to mull his words over. Today's been a troublesome day for you, and I doubt you'll be able to concentrate much anyway after all that's happened, so I'll allow you to take the rest of the day off. Your grades have been good in this class so far, which makes me think you won't have any trouble catching up on what we've been doing. He gives a small smile along with his praise, as if to make up for the seriousness of his lecturing before now. Go collect your things, and I'll see you tomorrow. Right, thank you. Muto's roundabout speech has left my thoughts scattered. I'm still not any closer to working out what I can do to help Hanako, if anything, and my mind is all the more confused after what Muto said. I'm also still bothered by the fact that Hanako was helped at least as much by Shizune, her enemy by proxy, as by myself, but I don't know whether that is just male bravado or a genuine concern. While I collect Hanako's and my things from the class, I continue to try and sort out my feelings. I want to say that I understand her and that I'm there for her, but while I might have been able to say that just yesterday, I can't say it now. I wish I could. I lay in my bed, trying to collect my thoughts. After Hanako's panic attack, I've found myself fundamentally reassessing the relationship we share and what I know about her. I had a hard enough time dealing with 4 months in the hospital. One look at her scars tell me that she was in one for a lot longer than I was. Be that as it may, I know next to nothing about her past. She's told me about the house fire, but only in the most basic way. And what of her family? I still haven't asked Lily about them. There hasn't been a good opportunity to bring it up. I don't know where she grew up or what her old school was like, nor of her past friends, her wishes and ambitions, not even her tastes in music, food, and movies, all the little things that I knew about my old friends. Just what have I been doing for all this time I've been with her and Lily? In the distance, I hear the bells signaling the end of classes. With any luck, Lily will soon realize that neither Hanako nor I are around and return to the dormitories. My mobile phone starts to ring, cutting my thinking short. It quite startles me, as I've rarely been called since coming to Yamaku. Hello, Hisao Nakai speaking. Oh, Hisao, I'm glad I found you. You weren't at any of our usual places, so I thought this would be the fastest way to contact you. I probably should have guessed it would be Lily, as she's one of the few people I've given my number to. Even through the phone, her voice sounds slightly on edge. Hanako and I left class early. She had some kind of panic attack. The line goes silent. If it weren't for the background static, I would have thought Lily had hung up on me. I understand. Could you come by my room? I'd like to talk with you. Sure, I'd appreciate the chance to have a bit of a talk, actually. Good, good. I also have some bad news. I think we should discuss this in person. It's hard to grasp the seriousness of the situation from Lily's tone. She sounds so calm most of the time, but that could be a good or a bad thing depending on how you look at it. Okay, I'll be right there. I collect Haneko's school things from my desk and head straight for Lily's room. I rap my knuckles on her door and she soon calls me in. Lily sits at the table inside her room looking a little worse for wear. I guess that's because of the bad news. Following her gesture and invitation, I sit across from her and lay Haneko's things on the table. Well, there's no point in either of us waiting. Would you mind going first, Hisao? What happened today? My memory of the incident is already beginning to fade, but I explain it as best as I can to Lily. Inviting Hanako to work with the group, Shizune and Misha's questioning, our foray to town getting discovered, and the subsequent panic attack. I had Shizune's reaction almost as an afterthought, but Lily seemed to take some kind of comfort in hearing about it. I guess rivals don't become rivals for no reason. There must be some history there, but now isn't the time to explore it. I see. She had said her therapist sessions were helping, but I had my doubts. It's quite a shame. Her birthday has caused some problems before, but I had hoped that she would have improved with you around. Oh, and the more intensive therapy. Where is Hanako now? Last time I saw her, she was in the infirmary. I guess she's gone back to her room by now. She wasn't in the library or the tea room when I checked, so I can only assume that too. You said you also had some bad news. What's the matter? Does it concern Hanako? Lily shifts her position, the body's way of saying she's searching for the right words. I'm worried that these words are going to be I won't be able to be here for Hanako because I'm going to be in Scotland for the next 2 weeks. My aunt has fallen gravely ill. I'm afraid I'm going to be heading back to Scotland to visit her and to spend some time with my family. What? Is she alright? When do you leave? I'm not altogether sure of exactly how she's faring at the moment, though last I heard she was stable. Stable. That's code for needs to stay in the hospital. I've been stable long enough to know that, and to know that it doesn't necessarily mean someone is in good condition, but merely treading water. On the upside, stable is much better than critical condition. At least she's not on the brink of death. Stable. That's relief. Yes, but this means that I won't be here for Hanako's birthday. I wanted to tell you now so we could think of something before we told Hanako, but after today's events, I'm not even sure if there's going to be an issue if we simply cancel the party. I don't think that's such a good idea. Hanako already knows that we're planning a party now. To go back on that seems like the wrong thing to do. Also, we should do something for your going away, right? You make it sound as if I won't be coming back. If all goes well, I should only be away for a week, though possibly 2. That's one relief, at least. With that in mind, what do you suggest then? Given the circumstances, I don't think karaoke is really appropriate. You're not going away for the greatest of reasons, so having too much fun would feel wrong. What did you do for her birthday last year? Last year, I literally couldn't get out of her room. She locked the door. All I could do was leave food outside for her, making sure that she was at least eating well. This is perhaps the most depressed I've ever seen and heard Lily act. I feel sorry for her given how defeated she must feel to be unable to help her closest friend. Perhaps it'd be better to throw the party before you leave then. That does sound like it would be the easiest option. I think we should at least tell Hanako, both about your trip and her party. I have her things from class as well. That's a good point. Should we go and visit her now? I think that'd be a good idea. Part of me is dying to see Hanako. The last time I saw her, she looked like death walking, and these last few hours have torn me apart just thinking about that. We quietly get up and file out of Lily's room. Hanako's room is next door in the same hallway. Knocking lightly gets us no response, but the door proves to be unlocked. Lily pauses for a moment as the handle unexpectedly moves under her hand before opening the door. Hanako's room is startlingly bare and monotone. There are no decorations on the plain white walls, a plain dark blue blanket, and only a few books, papers, and purely utilitarian items on the shelves. Even her bed sheets are monochrome. The entire room feels as subdued as Hanako's character. Hanako herself is laying curled up in her bed. She may not be crying now, but her eyes are closed tightly to stop herself, and the tracks left by her tears still sit on her reddened cheeks. I quietly walk in and set her bag down on her desk, afraid of startling her too much. Hello, Hanako. Hisao told me about what happened today. Are you alright? Hanako's eyes open, though only a little.
I'm okay.
She tilts her head slightly to look at me, noticing my grimacing before I can hide it.
Sorry for making you worry. Really, I'm fine now.
She really doesn't look nor sound okay, though at least she seems more calm than she was before. She still looks as if the slightest breath could emotionally break her. I said it before, right? You don't need to be sorry for this.
Hisao's right. I shouldn't have hidden something like a birthday celebration from you.
I see Hanako shiver at the word. Lily picks up on the silence that follows and crouches down to Hanako's level.
I'm the one who should be sorry, Hanako.
Hanako's eyes open to peer at Lily. She looks at Lily for some time, taking in her face with those dark, analytical eyes of hers. Lily must have made the right impression on her as Hanako recovers enough to prop herself up in the bed and shift to sitting on its side. Hanako worries about many things, but troubling others is foremost among them. Hearing Hanako's shuffling, Lily moves forward and feels at the side of the bed, eventually taking a seat beside her and taking Hanako's left hand in both of hers. The feeling of me being out of place when the two are together has lessened the time we've known each other, but it's still occasionally very much there. This is one of those times, I think. Lily, if you want me to go...
I don't want that.
Lily and I are both surprised at Hanako mustering her courage. A half-mumbled okay is all I can give her in reply, and I take her desk chair to sit in.
Hanako, I'm afraid I have some bad news.
So, Lily's gonna break the news now. With Hanako having affirmed a relationship so clearly, perhaps Lily thought the timing was good, or at least as good as it will ever be.
My aunt has fallen ill, so I need to return to my family for a time.
Concern replaces Hanako's remorseful expression.
Your family? You mean in Scotland, right?
That's right. Akira and I will be leaving Saturday.
So, you're going away?
I won't be gone for long, probably only a week or two. I'll be back before you know it, and Hisao will be here, right? That's right, I'm not going anywhere. Hanako seems to only take minor comfort in this, but she does manage to summon some resolve from somewhere inside her.
Is your aunt gonna be alright?
I'm not sure. Silence falls. It's depressing that the thing to truly bring Hanako out of her rut is another's misfortune. I decided to bring up the other matter that brought us here, to distract at least in part from the dismal feeling permeating the room. Anyway, we were thinking that it'd be a good idea to have a going away party for Lily, and it could double as... yeah. I cut myself off before mentioning her birthday, as that seems to be a trigger for such fierce emotions within her. Lily gives Hanako's hand a gentle squeeze.
Is it alright by you, Hanako? It won't be anything lavish or overdone, just something small in my room. So, just in the school? Just us?
That's right, just the three of us. If you'd like, I could ask Akira to come as well.
Okay. You're only going for a week?
1 week or two, yes. I promise you it won't be any longer.
Okay.
Most people would be upset at hearing about a friend's family member falling ill and happy at having a party, but with Hanako it seems that both events are on the same level. Alright then. You look like you need a rest, Hanako, so it might be best if you all went back to our rooms for now.
You know that if you ever want anything, you can always talk to me or Hisao, right?
Lily's voice is pensive, an unusual edge for someone as confident in herself as she.
I understand.
Wait, okay,
I understand. Thank you, Lily, Hisao.
Well then, good night, Hanako.
Night.
I let out a long breath after the door closes behind us. It feels a little like I've been deep underwater, and only now I've been able to come up for air. Lily doesn't seem to be doing well either. She looks pale and drawn. Are you alright?
I'm just a little tired. It's been hectic recently.
Have you slept at all? A little tired sounds like an understatement given how you look.
I think I managed to get a couple hours of sleep before class. I'll be okay.
I feel bad about pressing Lily right now. I think both of us are pretty tired from everything that's happened as well. I think you should get some rest. It's been a big day and staying up isn't good for your complexion.
Thank you for your concern, Hisao.
Good night then. Okay, night, Lily. I leave Lily in the hallway as she opens the door to her room and begin to make my way to my own. As I walk down the quiet hallway, I can't get the image of Hanako out of my mind. Huddled and pitiable, lying helpless with tears in her cheeks. I begin to think that she was just a normal, if extremely shy person, but her problems run much deeper. Trying to take our relationship further than what we share now when she's so fragile and vulnerable wouldn't be right. I don't need to be more than her friend in order to protect her, to try and stop anything like this ever happening again. The possibility of my feelings for her going beyond that doesn't matter anymore. Hanako is precious to me, and that's why I can't take advantage of her. But even so, there's still that sting I feel when I think that way. For now, I need to sleep. Tomorrow, hopefully, will be a better day. That was a really rough part to this game. I mean, like, rough isn't bad. Like, that was super well written and was like a great part to like experience, but I just mean like rough isn't how I'm feeling right now, man. Well, on that note, that's all the time I have for today. I I guess I don't want to say like it's kind of weird to say I hope you enjoyed this, but I hope you enjoyed the, experience. Cuz it's well written. It's a great story, but just I'm just not feeling too great right now about that. Oh. But yeah, that's all the time I have, and I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time where we'll be throwing that after. Oh my god, I'm stumbling over my words because just that whole scene, that whole part. But yeah, next time we'll be doing the whole going away party, and this time we'll hopefully be able to interact with Hanako more when Lily's gone. Like compared to Lily's route, I mean, where we didn't talk to her at all. I'll see you then for more of Katawa Shoujo. Peace.